What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chaotic Minds. As always, it's Winged.
And admitted.
And, oh boy.
What a week?
Yeah, you could definitely say that.
Yeah. I'm not even ready for my Monday tomorrow.
Yeah. So there's been a lot that's been going on this week. We are going to cover one of the more important things that has been going on, and just we're not going to really give our side a whole lot. We're going to try to limit that down as much as we can.
Because, yeah, there are things we could say.
Lots of things, lots of opinions.
But we don't want to go down that rabbit hole today.
Maybe at a different time.
Yes.
We'll have to see how everything kind of turns out. Because it's not like what else is going on in that part of the world. It's similar, but not identical.
We kind of got to get more information and gather more stuff.
Yeah. And for those of you who are oblivious or just the fact that we're being a little
Dodgy.
vague, it is what's going on in Israel.
Hamas
versus the Israeli government and Benji. I can't pronounce his name.
I've always messed it up.
So I'm pretty sure everyone knows what's going on currently. I'm not really going to say, a whole lot other than the fact that, once again, life is being taken, just in general, sucks.
Yes.
And it doesn't seem like... It seems like the news here, at least in the U.S., is
not only very limited, but it's very one-sided to me.
It really is, and we're only getting part of it only because we are allies with Israel. I will fully, I'll say that part. The U.S. is an ally to Israel. But
this
is
really nothing new. Israel's always been attacked for one reason or another.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, just in general, with religious reasons alone.
Add into the fact that Israel didn't exist as a country until right after World War II.
Yeah.
And it's just there was a country that was created for the Israeli people and for the Jewish people. And there was a lot of
and I mean,
stuff happening at that point, and
it's a
lot
mecca
of
for Christianity in general.
Well, it's not only a mecca for Christianity; it's also a mecca. It's also like a center place for the Muslim religion,
Yeah.
and that's why there's all this fighting that's going on there as well. And it's just like this has been ongoing since the end of World War II.
Since the beginning of World War II. I mean...
Well, no, I'm talking the country-wise.
Yeah.
It's just... It sucks that, once again, there is fighting and, the...
History is repeating itself.
The amount of loss...
said it amount of times before.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of life lost is just... Whew.
It's growing exponentially.
It's going to.
And
so
I will say my opinion on that part is it's ridiculous. Can't we all just get along?
Yeah.
That's my thing. We shouldn't be... It's 2023, people. We shouldn't be fighting with people over race, religion, sexual orientation, but it's still going on.
And it's going to. I mean, you have countries in Africa that are just outright banning and making being gay illegal to the point where they're sending out...
It's a death sentence.
Hunting parties.
It's literally a death sentence in some countries to be gay.
But if you are in that area and you're listening in, just be safe, please. I know it's difficult as all get out to do so, but just be as safe as you can.
If you have the ability and the means, get somewhere safe.
Yeah.
This might not be the greatest place in the world to live, but...
It's safer
than being persecuted for being yourself.
Yeah.
Just don't move to Texas. They're still on that trip.
So pushing past that, because if we were to go ahead and continue talking about it, I mean, it would take up the entirety of the show, and it's just
and probably next week's as well.
Yeah, it's there's a lot. I
But
did have
more on that as we get more news and more information, because it is going to continue to develop regardless of if it's good news or bad news. We'll still bring it. Granted, I may be bawling like a blubbering fool, but because any loss of life is tragic. Any loss of life, regardless of whose side you're fighting on. A lot of times people don't have a choice, and that's not something that people realize. Is there are countries that force you to be in their military for X amount of years, and with that comes following orders and doing things that you as a person outside of that military would not normally do. So just be empathetic to people.
Yep. And stop the hate train here.
Hey, you know what? Don't forget to love each other. We say it every day that we're on here.
Yep. So one thing I did want to talk to you about is it kind of, and we're not going to get into it. Only because
not too far anyway.
Only because it's a personal thing. But it involves something that has happened here recently, to me personally at work, right?
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a good way to put this. And the only way that I can is, like, how many jobs have you ever worked where rules are put into place, right?
Okay.
Every job.
Yeah. There's policies and procedures at every place. Yeah.
And of those places that you worked at, how many instances did you see of people going against or not following those policies to the letter?
Typically my bosses, like, they expect us to follow them, but they don't follow them themselves.
Right. And then of those places, how many of those places actually said something to let's say a new employee, right?
Okay.
That wasn't following what everybody else was doing, was following the rules to the letter, but somehow everybody else didn't have anything said to them about what they were doing, but the new employee was it almost felt targeted.
Yeah, and that's something that, I've dealt with as well, and both of us pretty much for the same reason. I mean, we are fiercely protective of those around us, regardless if they're family or not. And sometimes we get overly invested in those around us, and it can bite us in the ass. And that's exactly what it's done to both of us.
Yeah. I mean, look at it this way. And I'm going to put it to you this way. I actually had a conversation with my, the person who gave me a ride in today. And we were talking about how there is still to this day this stigma of being overly emotional or showing emotions in certain instances. And how it shouldn't be a stigma, but it is.
And it's kind of a weird thing where you, especially men, and I will say this, women are known to be emotional, overly emotional, irrational at times, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. And that seems to be no problem. Granted, it can get you into arguments, and then that'll cause a problem. But for men, it's almost like they're expected to show no emotion. But when they get so cold, when they don't show emotion, they are accused of being cold-hearted.
Or worse. I mean, there have been occasions where, at work, I went ahead and I went into a job and, I didn't try to make friends. I didn't try to really talk with anybody. I didn't try to, I wasn't how I normally am. Right.
It's we're not here to make friends. We're here to do work.
Right. Like, and that's
having that mentality.
Yeah. And
I did that.
I got passed over on several occasions when I had that mindset because I wasn't being a team player, as they said it, because I wasn't joining in on, like, jokes, or I wasn't, fostering team building
dynamics
or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I was accused of hampering like team growth because I didn't want to do that. So I was like, okay, So I go ahead and I join in.
That was me at National Jewish.
So I go ahead and I start joking around. I still be doing my work, but I opened up a little bit. I relaxed a little. I let my guard down just slightly, and then I get something said to, well, you're not taking this too seriously, or seriously at all. It's like, huh?
I mean, look at the way with National Jewish. I don't know if you were aware because we weren't together at that point.
We were.
We were together towards the end.
We have been in each other's lives for a long time.
A long time.
Since I think 2008 when I first came out and I visited.
Yeah.
And you and I kept in contact throughout the years, and then when I finally moved out here,
shit happened.
Yep.
but
no. You were working. You had just started at National Jewish
when you moved out here.
When I moved out here, so we knew. I knew of what was going on because you'd sit there, and I was one of the only people that you could talk to
and not be judged.
And what was going on.
And basically, it boiled down to when I first started there, and for the first year that I was there, I wasn't there to make friends. I didn't open up and didn't, yada, 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 like you at your job. And then Dave, the IT guy in the department, got to me. And I started to let my guard down. And then I got wrote up for talking about my family, bringing family in to the workplace, which is weird. So, yeah, everybody else is talking about their family and whatnot. And when I was talking about my family, it became a problem. It was a huge double standard. And, I mean, those things have happened at pretty much every job that I've had since.
I just don't get the double, I can't wrap my head around the double standard. Because, without anybody even saying anything, talking to me, finding out any part of my side, yada, yada, I get told, I've been told at several different locations and previous jobs that I've been at that I'm too invested in a customer who comes in, or a member, like when I was driving, stuff like that. And it's like, they're like, well, you can't be too invested. You just kind of have to fake it till you make it. And I'm like, what y'all don't seem to realize is the second that they leave, I don't care. While they're there, I care because I'm trying to keep them calm, right? While I'm there, or even if I'm there, right? When I was driving around, the second that I leave or they leave, we are not within eyesight of each other. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I'm there. I care long enough to get them what they want, make sure that they're calm, to keep them focused on the task at hand and getting them information that they may ask for.
Yeah. But
past that, I don't give a shit. And I hate to say that. I'll be as blunt as I can be. But, I don't care. Because what it ends up boiling down to is, for those who are like me as well, I have this thing that it's been called, I have an Atlas complex. Just so you guys are aware, Midget did have to step away. She received a phone call, which is why I'm here talking to you by myself. Anyways, I have what's called an Atlas complex. I like to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. And it's something that I've been trying and I've been struggling with for years. I love helping people. I love being with people. I like, hearing somebody out, trying to help them figure something out, whether that's actively, physically helping them move stuff around or whatnot, or just sitting down and being an ear for somebody. I love doing that kind of stuff. The problem is that if it's somebody that I'm invested in, if it's a friend of mine or a family member or something like that, I will try to fix the problem myself. I'll give them the tools to fix it by giving them advice or stuff like that. But then without waiting for them to actively try, I'll go ahead and try to fix it for them. And while that's great at times, at other times it becomes harder because I can't allow myself to get to a point where I am so emotionally invested in helping somebody out, and then I lose track of everything else.
Yeah.
Like it's like I was saying. By the way, hi, say hi, Midget. She's back.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption, folks. My daughter is staying over at one of her best friend's houses, and they kind of ran out of bread for sandwiches, so she came by to snack some.
No. But like I was talking about my Atlas complex.
He literally does hold the world on his shoulders, and he's been getting better, but there are still times where even I notice that he can be a little too strong-willed and stubborn and
Obstinate.
pig-headed and obstinate, and there could be an emergency with himself right in front of him, and he will be so hyper-focused on the task at hand or the person at hand that's not himself that he kind of lets his issue go, and that's how you end up in the hospital diagnosed with diabetes.
Yay.
so hyper focused while he was driving around for AAA that he was running on caffeine, sugar, sarcasm, and bullshit. Not even joking about that.
No.
And fast food. And because that's all he had time for. And it just got to a point where he went to work one day with a headache, and his eye was kind of blurry, and then he gets sent home halfway through the day, and he drives home barely able to see, and I'm like, W the fuck.
It wasn't just a day.
No, it was multiple days, and I'm not dumb.
It wasn't multiple days. It was a week.
Oh yeah, I know.
It was like almost a week and a half before I finally said something to you.
And then, yeah, your blood sugar was 764.
Yeah. Anyways, but no, it's like I like helping people. That's just my thing. And I've been trying to keep it like contained doing what we do because that's not my job.
Yeah.
Like my job is to make sure that
People stay safe.
Everything's fine. You know, I work security. I'm supposed to make sure that people are secure.
The funny thing is, and I'm going to say this, if you could stand poop and puke, you would be a perfect CNA.
Huh?
Certified Nurse's Assistant. Basically what my best friend Shell does.
Why do you say that?
Because they have to be invested in their patients. They have to be caring and kind, and the patients that they take care of can't take care of themselves. They can't. They basically wear diapers.
Couldn't do that.
And that's the thing. Is it like I said? If you could stand poop and puke,
nope.
You could do it.
I couldn't do that. Even if I could stand it, I couldn't do it. I would not physically be able to do it. And it's nothing to do with like my size or anything.
It's the emotion behind it.
Yes.
You'd get so invested in your patients that when they do die, you'd be like in a dark hole.
Yep.
Yeah. And
I don't need any more reasons for my depression to kick in.
Right.
But no, and then I get something said too.
You got to find that balance.
Well,
and you're still really new.
Well, here's the thing with it. I have that balance. I've had that balance for years. I fake caring a lot. Not with any of you guys. But
bullshit.
No, don't start that. But no, like I can fake giving a shit about somebody. I mean, I've done it. I did it with somebody who I at one point considered a really good friend.
You've done it with people you dated, let's face it.
That is true. I just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I can turn on that apathetic switch in a heartbeat. But then the problem is it's difficult for me to turn it off.
Yeah.
So I have this weird like I'll care about you while I can see you. But if I turn around, it's like I took a look.
Silence in Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. The second I look away from you, it's like I just saw the silence and I forget the past 5 seconds. Like who? Well, that person you're just talking to back there. Oh, right. Who's that again?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. But yet I get accused, like, without even having anybody come talk to me about it. Nobody came and talked to me about this. I get accused of being too attached. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's one of those things where
it's a catch-22. They want you to care, but they don't want you to care.
Well, it's not even a catch. It's not even that it's a fucking catch-22. It's the fact that you see everyone around you doing the exact same thing that you are.
Yeah.
But you're the only one that has anything said to.
That we know of. I mean, I know I speak.
Do you do the same thing I do?
Pretty much.
Have you had anything said to you about it?
Oh yeah. It's the same reason why I got suspended for 4 days. I mean, well, other than blowing up the wrong person at the wrong time. Yeah, but there was a whole litany, a list of why I was written up and suspended for 4 days. And
I didn't blow up on anyone.
Yeah.
But it's just like, huh?
Yeah, and the thing is like, I've been there just about 5 months. And I have someone that I can speak to in confidence and kind of lay everything out on the table. And they will talk to me and tell me, hey, I've been there. Just, you're doing good. You just have to tweak a couple things. You have to remember that this, and this, it's all about perception. Because whereas, yes, you may be doing the right thing or you feel like you're doing the right thing, but how others perceive it and the fact that we're basically contractors to the hospital. That basically, even though we don't work for them, we do work for them. Basically, it's like a company within a company. And at any point in time, they can be like, okay, well, there's too many people that are doing this now, so we're not going to have you guys there anymore.
Yeah. Like, the same person went ahead and told me today, like, I had something said to me, or I had said something to somebody, and granted, I didn't do it the right way. And afterwards, I was just kind of trying to get that spark back under control, right? I let my temper slip. I cussed at somebody that I shouldn't have. And that's another thing I got something said to me about. But the same person looked at me and they're like, look, own your position. This is your domain. This is your kingdom. Don't let somebody else tell you how to run your area. Like, don't let these people tell you how to do all that. And I'm just like,
basically being told don't let somebody run roughshod over you, but stay inside the lines.
Yes.
Yeah, the same thing I was told by the same person.
And it's just like, I'm trying, and yet I get something said to me if I go ahead and I even put up like a little like half wall, just like, hey, maybe we should watch out for this. Well, you don't excuse you? Fine.
Well, basically it's a game of malicious compliance.
Well, the problem is if you comply and something happens, they're not in trouble. You are.
Why do you think I started documenting everything?
But it comes down to that, and it's just like, how are you going to go ahead and do something like this, right? Without even talking with someone, right? Like, if you just come up and talk with me, I'm one of the most easiest people to talk to. Like, I'll sit there and I'll listen and I'll give you my opinion. And granted, I'll be blunt about it because that's just how my personality is.
Yeah.
It is not just, like, there's a lot of people that are like, saying, I'm just blunt is just them saying, well, I'm an asshole. Granted, I am an asshole. But, like, I'm one of those ones that you can still come up and talk to.
He's the nicest asshole you'll ever meet.
Like, I'll sit there and I'll listen to what you have to say. And if it makes sense or if you can put it in a logical sense or logical standpoint, I will go ahead and adjust how I do things, adjust how I say things, insert, whatever. But if you just sit there and you don't give any sort of reasoning for it, no, I'm going to continue to do things my way.
Yeah.
And
see, and here's another thing.
Or if you don't come talk to me, then I can't adjust anything.
This situation with you and I is not unique because I've had, believe it or not, even a couple of your coworkers on the same shift as you tell me that they're being talked to about this, this, and this, and other people are doing it as well. There was one situation where, like, there are certain people that like to exchange our gear in the back, which we're not supposed to. Right. And I try to abide by that.
Yeah.
And then I get to just do it. Just put your gear down and we'll pick it up and then we'll go test it and make sure everything's good. Okay, why? And then one of your coworkers came up to me and said, oh, they got in trouble for discharging of the taser. Even though they didn't pull the trigger or anything, they were just exchanging out with the person that's taking the gear next shift.
Mm.
And this person typically exchanges their gear with me. And I'm like, no, typically we're in the office and only back here if we have to be. And we were told that it was fine. Well, apparently it's not. And I'm like, okay, cool. Malicious compliance. And I told him as much. I was like, cool. So when I come in to grab my gear, I will make sure that somebody goes back there to take over for you. You can come up. We can exchange our gear. If they say something about it or we don't have the coverage, I can't take gear unless somebody goes back and sends him up. And seeming how one on my shift can't be left alone, guess what? It's going to end up being left to a supervisor. And if they don't want to do it, sorry, I can't take over if I'm not going to be allowed to take my gear.
Yeah.
And I told him, and he's like, okay, I got you. I smell what you're stepping in. I smell what you're putting. I can pick up what you're putting down. I was like, okay. So now it's a game of malicious compliance. And that's exactly how it's going to be. It's going to continue to be that way. And when I get something said to me about it, I'm going to be like, look, it's in the policy that states that we cannot exchange it except for in a closed door setting. So unless you want us leaving a patient alone, which I also got in trouble for, apparently I leave my patients alone all the time.
Right.
Anyway, which doesn't happen. Hence the reason I'm marking down who comes to take over.
Anyways,
it's a game of malicious compliance. So when I get something said to me about doing things the way that I'm doing, basically doing malicious compliance, cool. Okay, then this person, because I have a list, needs to get into trouble for not doing it. And we all need to start following the policies and procedures to the T.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause a lot more of a rocking of the boat. And frankly, like I told this person that I talked to with confidence, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to be held liable and held accountable to follow the policies and procedures, then
so
everybody else needs to be.
And that's like the thing that irritates me the most is it is like because the company that we are for is the company that we are for, and the hospital and the place that we work at is the place that we work at, right? It's like we're outsiders trying to keep the peace, right?
Yeah.
And these people don't like us already.
Yeah.
They may like some, but they don't like us. And so they're looking for reasons. And it's like, why?
And see, and the thing is...
Because here's what's going to happen, right? Here's what's going to happen.
Somebody's going to get hurt.
Someone's going to get hurt. Bad. And they're only going to get hurt after we leave.
Yeah.
If this continues and goes down the route that it is, they're not going to renew anything, right? Mm-hmm. Which means that we are gone.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, and they don't have anybody right away, somebody's going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be our fault. It's not going to be my fault. I'm not taking that.
Nope. And see, the thing is even though we've both gotten in trouble for certain things, and I'm on this malicious compliance kick, the nurses know that I'm on a malicious compliance kick, especially the ones that like me. Because there are some that are like, hey, what's your opinion on this? Or, hey, I'm going to go over here can you keep an eye on their oxygen? Because they know me. They know.
And I think that's where you have
the
a leg
advantage
up on me, because I don't.
And
like
see
the
that-
only thing I know how to read somebody. Like I know when someone's about to start amping themselves up.
Yeah. And see,
I
the
know
thing
when
is,
somebody's getting ready to swing. I can see that, and I'm like, hey, and I'll step forward to pretty much body block.
yeah.
And then I get something said. Well, why are you doing that? Give it a second, and then they go off, and it's like, oh.
Yeah. And see, the thing is, like I said, some of the nurses that, like me, some of them that don't like me have noticed that I'm not doing anything for them unless they ask. If they want to give them things that they're not supposed to, I'm going to note it on their chart.
Oh, yeah.
On our charting. If they want to allow them certain items to be kept, I'm going to allow it. I'm going to write it down. And then when something happens and they get hurt or I get hurt, it's going to be like, this is who allowed it. This is what the problem is.
Oh, I did that with a doc.
Mm-hmm.
Doc went in, like, I was sitting there watching someone, and Doc went in and then partially closed the door. And I'm like, he goes, whatever. Like, didn't even let me say anything, just whatever. And walked away. And I'm like, Doc, what's your name? Blah, blah. Doc, blah, blah. Did this. And then our boss came up and was like, why is that like that? I'm like, clipboard. And handed them a clipboard, and they're like,
okay.
Huh.
And they're going to start noticing a pattern. And there are some supervisors that have noticed a pattern, because when I call the supervisor in particular and be like, da-da-da-da-da, tell them the situation, and then they go off.
Hmm?
And are like, no, this is what the policy is. This is what we're going to follow.
Yeah.
Walks in, grabs the items they're not supposed to have, and walks out. And now it's a game of, okay, if you have a problem with our policies and what we allow and what we're allowed to do and what we're allowed to say, then you need to talk to our supervisor, because they're the ones that told me to do this.
Yep.
And that's basically a big part of my malicious compliance. I'm not going to do anything for the nurses or say anything about what they leave in the room. I'm just going to note it, and I'm going to let my supervisor know, because there have been several occasions that I have noted on our charting that metal trays were left in the room, needles were left in the room, urinals that were full were left in the room.
Yeah. Like, there was one, I went in there and I was cleaning, getting it ready for the next person to come in, because we had somebody coming in quick. And there was something, like, nurse had walked in, seen it, moved it, and it was partially full. And I'm like, okay. And then our boss walks in, and I'm like, I got this done. And I'm like, I don't know what to do about that. And they're like, not our problem.
Because they're getting tired of it too.
Yeah. And so one of the nurses came in, saw it, was like, grabbed it, put a glove on, grabbed it, and dumped it. And I'm like, it's all ready. And they sighed and growled at me, and I'm just like, excuse
Really?
you.
That's not part of my job description.
Yeah, no. Like, I'm here to keep you safe. That's number one. I'm here to keep me safe. That's number two. And I'm here to keep, lastly, I'm here to keep the patient safe, whether it's against themselves or, not whether it's against themselves. I'm here to keep the patient safe from themselves.
Yeah. And that's where I'm following everything that we're supposed to be doing to a T, noting the things that I notice that are not being followed, that they damn well know that it's part of our policies.
Mm-hmm.
And then I let our supervisor know, because this is getting ridiculous, because it's almost like there are certain ones that are trying to set us up.
Oh, yeah. I can see that. There are certain nurses that are trying to set us up. There are certain ones that are just like, we thank you for doing this.
Oh, yeah, and then there are some nurses that are completely 100% on our side and will make sure they follow everything to a T.
They'll double check with us. It's like, hey, is this okay? Yeah.
I don't
hey,
see a problem with it.
is it right to go in there right now? Probably not. All right, I'll come back later.
Or, hey, can you step in with me just in case because they've been kind of froggy? Yeah, I get it. There are some nurses that are great. There are some nurses that are still brand new, that are still fairly new.
I had a nurse today look at me, and they were like, "Why are we back? Why are we in this part? Why aren't we over in the other part?" I'm like, "That is not up to me.
That's up to your boss.
That's
and
up
my
to
boss.
that's up to the house soup." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Trust me. If we had our way, that's where they would be at because it's safer.
Yeah.
But we don't. So we just have to go with where they're put." She goes, "Okay." And then just like,
there are some nurses who absolutely refuse to be in the one location with these patients because it's not so safe.
Yeah. Like, and it's just, I get tired of the hypocrisy. Like, that is the biggest thing. Like, and that's not just even at work.
Everywhere.
I'm tired of the hypocrisy everywhere.
Seriously, in everyday life, there are certain people that can get away with pretty much everything criminally. And then if we do anything remotely in that location or in that aspect, we're in jail.
And by we're talking like the general public.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, I don't
Or
get
my
it.
personal favorite, traffic. If we run the red light or we're speeding like a bat out of hell or run a stop sign and almost hit a group of kids, we get arrested. If it's somebody else, there's never a cop around.
No.
There's never a cop around when you need it. And I'll tell you, where we live, the city cops are, I won't say all of them, I will say some of them are pretty freaking useless. And one of our main supervisors will tell you as such.
Oh, yeah.
Because she cannot stand
Oh, yeah.
the city police.
Mm-hmm. I just don't get it. Like I said at the start of this, I don't understand the double standard.
It's the politics of it all. We are not high enough in the food chain to facilitate or justify doing certain things that we do, even though our bosses can.
Well, my boss, in particular, can go ahead and go off on a patient, or on somebody because they're being dumb, and he'll drop the F-bomb. He'll go ahead and cuss and whatnot. I slip, and I let my temper slide once, and I get something said like, "That's not professional," but excuse you.
Hey, I was accused of being violent towards my patients, so there you go.
It's just like, okay, then what am I supposed to do? What do you expect me to do? Be like, "No, bad, naughty. You shan't be doing that."
How it was put to me is we can say, "Hey, we're not going to be doing this. This is what we're supposed to be doing. This is what we're going to do." And we have to leave it at that. And then when they get violent, then we go other avenues. But we have to, as I'm going to say this as uniformly understood as possible, we as peons can't do the same things as the higher-ups.
It makes no sense.
No, everybody should be held to the same standard.
Yep.
And I get it. You get it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, what's next?
I don't know. You pick something.
I
know that you were talking about something earlier. I just don't remember what exactly it was.
I don't remember what I had for breakfast, let alone what I talked about 20 minutes
ago. You
ago.
had pizza for breakfast.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway. No, one of the things that I am wanting to talk about, and it's something that's been it hits home for me because I do work overnights, is sleep. Like, I have a problem falling asleep after my day at work. And there are times where I won't fall asleep till after you're awake. And then I get shit for sleep, or I sleep like crap, and then I'm tired the whole next night trying to stay awake. And then when I get home, it's the same thing over again. I can't fall asleep.
Don't. I have a history of partial insomnia. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I know. But it's like I have
That's why
to.
I like when I. Sorry, I'm not meaning to interrupt you, but like that's why, like you'll sit there and you'll see me, talking with you until like 3 o'clock in the morning, because when like I get home at like 10:30, 11
At the
o'clock
latest.
ish, right?
Yeah.
I won't be able to wind down sometimes until like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And then my alarm goes off at 9:30, and then I have a secondary alarm to go off at 10:30. Just that way,
Which is usually the time I end up going to bed.
usually the time that I end up waking up, and I'm getting the same thing, and it's like,
And see, you don't take medication.
I refuse to.
And I have to take medication, otherwise I won't sleep. And I take both melatonin and Benadryl. And you're not supposed to mix the two.
No.
I will take one melatonin, one Benadryl, and it usually helps me fall asleep. But it takes a while to kick in, therefore it takes me longer to fall asleep. And then still, if something happens, like the neighbors upstairs have their kids stomping all around the apartment, it'll wake me up and I won't be able to fall back to sleep because I can't take any more medication. Or something here will happen, like a rude awakening at noon after I fell asleep at 10:30 with our daughter coming home from school. And I won't be able to fall back asleep. And it's just ridiculous because I've even talked to my doctor about it, and she's like, well, we don't want to put you on a hardcore sleeping medication because they're known to cause this, 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 and this.
Your doc is just like...
Guesswork in a white coat.
There are so many different adjectives that I have for that.
And most of them are expletives.
Person.
Yeah.
Because I won't say doctor. I really won't say physician. Like, there's a specific sound that an animal makes that would describe her.
Yeah, I know. Which is the reason why I was kicked off Kaiser.
Well, you were kicked off because you reported her.
Yeah.
But, like, the issue with sleep is one of those things that, like, that's the only real time that your body has to recover.
Yeah.
Like, your organs start rebuilding stuff. Your mind is able to, like, shut down and relax, or supposedly.
You digest easier.
Yeah. And, like, you get taller because you're laying down.
I don't get taller.
That's true. I'm going to put you on the fridge. You keep this up. But, like, like, everything can decompress because you're laying down.
Yeah.
And for those people like you, or even me at times, hence the partial part that I say, it gets difficult to get any sort of meaningful sleep. In your case, because, you have to take these meds, and when you finally do fall asleep, if you get woken up, you're like, fuck, I can't go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's because my brain... It seems like my mind doesn't ever shut off.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a chemical imbalance that's going on, because I've seen like different videos of like, hey, this is why some people can't sleep, or if it's just the fact that I don't ever relax,
And that's the thing is, like, me today, I slept 11 and a half hours.
Uh-huh.
Because my body apparently needed the extra sleep. But I looked at my sleep score on the Fitbit.
And it was crap.
It was a 38.
Yep.
I woke up 104 times.
Holy crap.
Granted, most of it was just a sliver, like I woke up, went right back to sleep. But there was chunks of a half hour here, an hour here, half hour here, that I wasn't sleeping at all. And I'm just like...
Well, I've looked at my sleep, like my sleep patterns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think, like, say 8 hours is 100%, right?
Uh-huh.
I spend the amount of time that I spend in deep sleep or REM, like when your body is actually, or like the amount of time that I spend in deep sleep is like a ninth of the overall sleep,
Mm-hmm.
right? The other part is like the
light sleep.
The like 7 nights of it is light sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like a noise could happen, and I'm like, what happened? Like I snap awake.
Which is funny because
then, like,
you're really hard to wake up.
The other like ninth of it is REM.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like this is
it's ridiculous, yo.
the only real time, and I hate to say this, the only real time that I've ever been able to like get into that deep sleep and stay in that deep sleep for a extended period of time
Mm-hmm.
is when I've had a drink or three. You know, when I've had alcohol on board.
And which is not healthy.
It's not. You know, or I like the time that I really wasn't sleeping. I had gotten maybe 2 hours and was about to go ahead and try to get up and go to work. And you handed me a Coke that you had dropped a couple of melatonin in or broke them up and mixed it into it. Or like you gave me a drink and you had slipped some sleeping stuff into it. And you called my boss.
He hadn't slept in like 4 days.
And you called my boss and you're like, yeah, he's not waking up. And she's like, what do you mean? He's not, like, is he dead? No. He hasn't slept in 4 days. Oh. What'd you do? I gave him melatonin. Gave him? He didn't have a choice.
Pretty
like,
much.
I remember that conversation.
Pretty much. And it's like, because, and the thing is like, you call out because you don't get sleep, and they reprimand you for it. If you go to work and you haven't had sleep, and you get snippy, you get reprimanded for it. So
or
it's
if you go to work and you fall asleep, you get fired for it.
So it's like, pick a feature.
Or banned from ever going back there.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But yeah, it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And sleep is one of those things that, like,
your body needs.
You actually need it. Like, do you need food? Yes. You can go like a week or two without food.
You can actually go 3 weeks without food without dying.
Yeah. Do you need water? Yes. Do you need it every day? No, but
yes, you need it every day. I drink water every day.
You can go a couple of days without water.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep is one of those things where if you don't sleep for like 48 hours, it is the same, like, you give the same...
It's the same psychosis as if you have a mental breakdown.
Or if you are heavily intoxicated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's one person, real famous.
It's called being punch drunk.
There was a guy, an individual, real famous, Brandon Lee Mulligan, did not sleep for 92 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was in college, and so he had to study. He was also like writing, and he said that it's like everything goes in slow motion.
Uh-huh.
And you're moving what you think is in normal speed, and everything else is moving in slow motion, and like you hear things and you see things that aren't actually there.
Uh-huh.
You know, it fucks with you. Like, if your brain never shuts off, even for the littlest bit, you're fucked. Like, and I can kind of attest to that. When I was in the military, there was a week where throughout the entire week up until Saturday, I'd gotten 6 hours of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 6 hours of sleep split up in between 2 3-hour shifts.
Yep.
Just because I could not sleep. And then Friday night, going into Saturday at midnight, I fell asleep and I did not wake up until 7 p.m. Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, that's not sleep, that's a mini coma.
Mm-hmm.
And because my phone was going off, didn't hear it, didn't answer it, nothing. People knocked on my door, nothing. People came into my room. They couldn't get me awake. But they sat there and waited for me to wake up. And finally, when I wake up, they're like, "We thought you died." And I'm like, "Huh? What happened?"
And then when you sleep that long, you wake up and you're like, "What day is it?"
Yeah, like I slept. I woke when I finally woke up. I took a walk down to go get some food. Went back to my room, ate it, and then went back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it's like everything. It was like I was able to reset.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. It's like there are times where I'll go 2-3 days without sleeping more than a couple of hours, and then when I finally like have a day off, I sleep for 12, and then I wake up and like my body is so drained that I end up with a migraine. I end up like nauseated because of the migraine, because I haven't had anything to eat or drink during that entire time.
Well, and the other thing is, like, you miss a lot of different things, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's been occasions where I had something said to me by friends and family because I hadn't slept, prior to that in, like, a day or two. I'd gone a couple of days without sleeping, finally slept for, like, 10, 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finally wake up, they're like, oh, look who's finally awake. You didn't do this. You missed out on this. And it's like, well, fuck. Why didn't y'all, couldn't y'all have waited, or couldn't y'all have, came to wake me up? No.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Then don't say I missed out on something. Y'all didn't do anything.
And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying is, I miss out on a lot because on my days off because I physically cannot get up. Like today, I physically could not get up. Thank God our oldest, was here because he helped me take care of dinner. He cooked the ground beef and he started the water for the pasta.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I just could not physically get up. And it's like, this is the second day in a row that this has happened where I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, everybody's going to be like, well, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? We're having leftovers. That's what we're having. I'm tired of throwing leftovers away, especially being broke-ass people who can't barely afford a place to live, let alone freaking groceries, because groceries are expensive. We got leftovers from tonight. We've got leftover cheddar broccoli soup that I made from last night. We've got Philly cheesesteak stuff still.
That I made the other night.
Yeah, that you made on Tuesday night.
Is that still good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is we've got all these leftovers. Why am I going to go out and buy more crap to be left over and then end up wasting half of what's in the fridge?
Yeah, I mean, there was a point in time when I was growing up, once a week we had leftover night.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm going to start doing on Saturdays.
That's fine.
Because if we have the leftovers, because I'm trying to get a better handle on
limiting
how much to cook and stuff like that, but it's a crapshoot on whether certain people will show up.
Add into the fact that you are partially Italian, and Italians cook. When we cook
for an army.
We cook. We don't know how to cook small.
I literally made 4 boxes of pasta with the 3 pounds of ground beef tonight, and it's just that's a bit much, seeming how someone who typically shows up with crotch gremlins didn't show up today.
Anyways.
I did have one more thing that that we can do in the last couple minutes.
Okay, well, before that, sleep's important, y'all. Make sure you're getting some.
Drink your water.
Drink water. Yeah, I'm looking at you. You know exactly who I'm talking to.
We are literally plants. We need water, and we need food, and we need sleep.
And sunlight.
Anyways.
So what's the last thing that you wanted to discuss?
I talked to Tater Tot today.
Okay.
And I explained to them that you have to work the day of the baby shower, and I will be sleeping for work for the baby shower, and I really don't have a way to get out to Aurora.
Did they take it well?
Oh, yeah. They're like, that is perfectly fine. I understand, yada, yada, yada. And I told them, I was like, make sure you take note of anything that you're going to need for the baby
that isn't
gotten at the baby shower, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
And they're like, okay. They're all perfectly fine with it. And it's just like,
I hate to say this.
I was dreading to tell them.
I hate to say this because I don't understand it. I don't understand a baby shower. Just like I don't understand why people are gender reveal parties.
Gender reveal parties I don't get either.
I don't what is the purpose of a baby shower? Hey, we're having a baby. We already knew that.
Hey, we're having a baby. Basically, a baby shower is there so that other people can buy 90% of the shit for the baby, and you don't have to buy it all. Because trust me, it gets expensive.
Oh, I know. Like I have 4 younger siblings. I'm aware of how expensive it gets because at least 2 of them I was old enough to remember and know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, because, I mean, car seats now, talking about $200.
Yeah.
Stroller, you're talking about another $200. Crib, you're talking upwards of $600.
Diapers in like a week's time is like the same amount that a car seat is.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I
get that.
And that's why people have baby showers, so that other people can buy the stuff for them. And that's the purpose of a baby shower.
Okay. I've never been invited to one before this one, and I just don't I don't get them. I don't understand.
I will let you know that typically baby showers are not co-ed. Typically baby showers are just females and probably their children because, well, yeah, we just bring our children everywhere.
Yeah. I know. I feel bad, but thankfully, like they're one of those people that are just like
go with the flow.
Yeah, they are very much go with the flow.
Yeah.
And like it's just I'm definitely happy that
they've been really sick lately. So morning sickness is back.
Yeah.
Because they're in that stage.
Oh, I feel so bad.
And they were like, I'm going to get a burrito from Del Taco. I'm like, no, you are not. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, no, go to Wendy's, get a junior bacon cheeseburger because that's what the baby's going to want. And they're like, oh, I'll get a chicken wrap. I was like, no, Wendy's. She goes, yes, from Wendy's. I was like, okay. So they were going to get a grilled chicken wrap. And I was like, don't forget the junior bacon cheeseburger because that's what the baby wants. Almost guarantee you that I'm going to ask them about if they got what I told them to get and if that's what baby wanted. Because for some odd reason, junior bacon cheeseburgers when you're pregnant hit differently. Like,
my mom,
seriously.
when she was pregnant with me, there used to be a like kind of like a diner like Denny's, but it was called Bob's Big Boys. And my mom
Bob's Big Boy Burgers.
My mom used to get when she was pregnant with me, Bob's Big Boy breakfast.
Yeah.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
That was what she craved. When she was pregnant with my sister, I think it was like blue Slurpees and I think Twinkies, she said. And then for one of my younger brothers, it was olives, black olives, right out the can. Don't mix it with nothing. Open up the can, give her a fork. She's happy as a clam.
So with me, with our oldest, it was bacon, steak, and salad mix straight out the bag.
Okay.
Like it was fucking chips.
Okay.
And I'm talking about the iceberg, the one with the cabbage and the carrots and whatnot. Yeah.
Carrots are disgusting.
I ate it straight out the bag. I would make up a whole pound of bacon, chop it up. I wouldn't buy bacon bits because bacon bits are different. They're weird.
Yes.
I'd dump a whole pound of bacon chopped up in that salad mix and get a fork, get frustrated with the fork, toss the fork in the sink, and just eat it by hand like it was chips. Not even joking.
Mm-hmm.
With fish, it was salmon. It was Coke, but it had to be from Burger King.
Okay.
And it was Cheetos.
Okay.
With our daughter, it was Coke, only from Burger King, Hershey Pie,
only from Burger King.
Only from Burger King, and Mexican food. You could say anything Mexican food in front of me, and I'd be like, ooh. Like, that's the reason I gained 144 pounds with her.
Well,
yes. Yes. But no, like, the cravings, man. You have them at the beginning, along with the morning sickness, and then when the morning sickness comes back, you have them at the end. Like, really? The only peaceful time is in the second trimester, and you're just like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I exist. And then you get towards the end, and you get past that morning sickness again, and you get past that eating everything under the sun that you're craving, and then you're like, this house is disgusting. And you're pretty much cleaning everything with a fine-tooth comb and a toothbrush, and even when you're done, you're like, still not. You feel like you missed something, so you start over again. That's the nesting mode. Welcome, Tate. You're going to enter nesting mode in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I think this is this is a good time to call it. I'm starting
Yeah.
to not feel well myself. Like my stomach is getting all blah, blah,
Grumbly.
blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
Doesn't help that I made you a double.
Well, I mean,
That
no,
helped.
that has nothing to do with it. It's just like my stomach has been all sorts of McJacky today, and it's just now like the rumbles have started,
Uh-oh.
and I know exactly what that means later.
Hey, you pooping?
I don't know what end it will be. Anyways, so I think I think this is a good point to call it here.
Yeah.
So
I'm
thank
gonna
y'all.
go kill things.
Thank y'all so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. If you are listening on Spotify, just do us a favor, hit that download button. It really shows Spotify that y'all like what we're hearing and that you want to hear more of it and all that kind of fun stuff. If you want to, the link a link is in the description to donate. You don't have to, but it's one of those things. Again, it shows like, hey, we like what we hear. We want to support these fine folks.
Fine folks.
Yeah.
Crazy people, more like it.
But as always, don't forget to love each other.
Yes, please, for the love
Please.
of all that is holy, unholy, and whatever God you believe in, don't forget to love each other.
And as always,
Don't be a dick.
don't be a dick. Bye, guys.
Bye.